Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders. Appreciate everybody being in here. Man, basketball, it's just what we thought it was going to be. This conference is tough. It's got a lot of good teams in it, and winning on the road is extremely tough. And we saw that this weekend. We saw some teams maybe, find their way a little bit as well this past weekend. We saw some teams maybe not as good as what we anticipated. So we're going to take a look at all of that and break all of that down. I don't know if we can continue to say that this is early in the season. It might be early in Big 12 season, 6, 7, 8 games into the conference now. I think we got to say things are starting to roll. So we'll start to roll right along with it. So appreciate you guys being in here. Again, as always, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comments section, and always hit the notification bell so you know when Big 12 Insiders content is out. So let's get into what happened this weekend. First things up, told you it's tough to win on the road. I told you to watch this basketball game. I thought it was the game of the weekend, and it turned out to be. West Virginia beats Iowa State. Look, you're not beating anybody shooting 6% from three, okay? Iowa State shot the ball horrible, 1 for 17. I mean, you can win the rebounding battle. You can win the turnover battle. You can do whatever you want. But when you're going to shoot that bad on the road against good competition, first of all, against any competition, it's going to be tough to win. But when you do that against good competition, you're not winning. Now, some might say, hey, this is just a one-off. Okay, I'll live with that. But let's not discredit some of the defense that West Virginia played. Look, they won the basketball game. I thought they played well enough to win. I just thought Iowa State shot terrible. If you break down the numbers, look, Javin Small, he had 27 points to lead the charge for the Mountaineers. Like I said, 5-6% from three-point range. I mean, you're not beating anybody like that. But like I said, Iowa State won the rebounding battle. They held West Virginia under 40% shooting. They did all of those things. But sometimes you just can't you can't undo or overcome the horrid shooting of your own. This is one of those things. I wouldn't suspect Iowa State shoots the basketball like this ever again this season. Let's just put it like that. But give credit to West Virginia, man. Give them credit. They held home court, something you got to do if you want to be a contender in this league. They were able to do that against one of the best teams, not just in my opinion, but a lot of people's opinions, one of the best teams in the country. It's a good win for West Virginia. Next up, Kansas, they just beat Kansas State 84-74. Look, this game, I mean, before the first timeout, it was 20-4. I mean, Kansas State had called 2 timeouts. 14-0 is how this thing started, and it was just ugly. Kansas State looked lifeless. Didn't look interested. But KU, that's why I'm just not so sure about this KU team. They had an opportunity to put their foot on K-State's throat and didn't do it. They let them back into the game. And back into the game so much with about, a minute and a half, it was a 6-point game. This game could have been 30 at halftime if KU had wanted to. And maybe that's the reason that I have some reservations about this KU team is that I don't think it has enough shooting. I know that's kind of been the thing in the last couple of years with KU. I just don't think it has enough shooting, or maybe it just doesn't have enough want to or good players. I don't know. All I know is that K-State fought something that we hadn't seen them do the last couple of games. They gave effort, and that's something that they can live with. Now, the wins, maybe I tweeted out that the wins are going to come, if they keep this effort up. I think they will, but you got to see some better play. Got to start the game a lot better. Having said all of that, I'm just not sure this Kansas team. We'll see. Bill Self gets better as the year goes on. His teams always get better, so we'll see. I think that Badunga being in lineup versus KJ Adams helps. Now, I don't want KJ Adams to be hurt or anything like that, but Badunga's a better basketball player. Here's the bottom line. Badunga's going to be a first-round draft pick, probably a lottery pick, whenever he decides to go into the draft. KJ Adams may not play meaningful competitive basketball in the United States of America ever again. That's the difference between those two players. So I think Badunga's better. He gives you way more on defense. He's just a better basketball player. I think KU's better when he's in the lineup. We'll see how that looks out and shapes out moving forward. Next up, Houston. On the road, again, tough to win on the road in the Big 12. They go to UCF. It's a struggle. They don't make hardly any threes. They can't shoot. Game comes down to the wire. They make a basket at the end. Juwan Roberts makes a layup with basically 1 second to go. Absolutely incredible. It was a back-and-forth game, but Houston finds a way to win. Again, that's sometimes when you're the better team and maybe you don't play the best or up to your ability, sometimes you got to find a way in spite of yourself, and that's what Houston was able to do in this game, man. They found a way in spite of themselves. UCF battled them. They did. Like usually Houston just blows people's doors off by, with their defense and out-rebounding. That didn't happen. That did not happen. And not to mention, Houston shot the ball. They were terrible. Shot 18% from three. Give UCF a ton of credit. A ton of credit. Now, again, if you're going to win in this league, you got to hold home court, and this is one they let get away. But UCF's going to battle. I don't suspect that they are going to be tops in this league or even make the tournament, but they'll be competitive. They continue to play like this and give this effort. They will be competitive. Congrats to UCF on that kind of effort, but also congrats to Houston. Didn't play well. You could see it, but they were able to find a way to win. Some other teams that we're going to go over weren't able to do that on this list. So good job for them. Cincinnati, holding court at home, win 2 in a row. Look, Cincinnati fans, maybe I'm the bad luck charm. I picked you to be terrible in football. You were better than what I thought. I picked you to be really good in basketball. So far this season, it hasn't started that way. Now, things are turning around. You won 2 in a row. This is another game that, Arizona State, I don't know. They're so up and down and so inconsistent. They got out-rebounded, Cincinnati did, by 9, but they won the turnover battle. The one thing is they made enough plays to win this basketball game. This might be the start of, after being shell-shocked early in the season, especially that loss at Kansas State, which, looking back, is a disgusting loss. Even on the road, I don't care. Big 12 play, Kansas State's not a good basketball team. But having said all of that, that maybe they're back on winning 2 in a row. This might be something that leads them, okay, we got our footing. We kind of slipped up and really fell on our face, but now we got our footing a little bit. Let's kind of get back into this and figure some things out. Dylan Mitchell led balanced attack. He had 14 points to lead the Bearcats. Texas Tech kind of outlasts Arizona. This one was weird. The final score, if you didn't watch the game, you're looking 70-54. You're like, oh, man, Tech whipped them. No. This one was much closer than the final score would indicate. I mean, basically with 5 minutes to go, it was a 3-point game. I mean, this game was close. And then Arizona doesn't score another point. Like, no points over the last, I think it's 5-16 of the game. They don't score anything, not a free throw, nothing. Now, here's the thing, because this game was close throughout. You can say, well, come on, Big B, the game is a 40-minute game, and you're right about that. And I'm not going to push back because the game is a 40-minute game. The last 5 minutes count, and if you don't score and we do, if the game gets out of hand, too bad, so sad. I can go with that, but I would say that the game is still a lot closer than what – because, again, I give Tech a lot of credit with their defense. Arizona couldn't make a shot, but I think that's because of Tech's defense. I don't think they get enough credit because people look at their offense and how good they have been offensively this season that they forget that they can lock people up as well. And they were able to do that to Arizona. So I'm going to give them a ton of credit. Like I said, Arizona shot 31% from the floor. Again, winning on the road is tough. Winning on the road is tough. Arizona, again, one of those teams that we thought was going to be really good that has kind of I don't want to necessarily say slip, but just hasn't been as good as what people anticipated. Arizona falls into that category. So they got to pick it up over the next couple of weeks here Because again, I'm not going to say they're in danger of making the tournament. I think they've got that and they'll be able to do that. But we'll see. We'll see how good of a team Arizona can be. They gotta. There's basketball left to be played. They have to start playing better. I think that time is now that they got to take a step forward. Good for Texas Tech though. Again, holding home court is a good victory for them. So Oklahoma State beats Colorado. This game was, I caught a lot of this game. Arizona or Oklahoma State, I mean, they got out, they were ahead by 10 at halftime, and they just kind of about midway through the second half just kind of cruised to victory here. Again, this is a game where I don't think the final score, it was closer than what the game actually was. Because with 3 minutes to go, they're up 16 points. They're cruising right along. I mean, this game was essentially over. Look, Colorado is kind of falling on their face here. A lot of early win after that win over UConn in that Thanksgiving tournament that they had, that 1 point upset. Now, it turns out that UConn's still a really good team, but not the UConn that we've seen over the last couple of seasons. But Colorado's fallen on their face, and all that win that they had early is completely out of their sails. They've lost 6 in a row, but give Oklahoma State credit for winning this basketball game. They took advantage of everything they need. 42 times going to the free throw line is a ton. But that's what happened in this game. I mean, they were the aggressive team. So good for Oklahoma State. That's a good home win for them. Maybe the best game of the weekend. BYU and Utah. Look, it was one of the better games in football this year. And so far, this game is one of the better basketball games this year. Goes into overtime. Utah outlasts them 73-72. It was a clean game. I like this basketball game. Teams got up and down, back and forth. They battled each other. Teams played defense. Now, everybody didn't make every single shot, but it wasn't an ugly basketball game. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just an ugly game or anything like that. Utah, they go to the line 32 times. That's kind of how they did. Uzra Asar, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He led Utah with 26 points. This is a really good basketball game. I don't know if anybody caught it, but if you get a chance to go back and watch it, you should. Real good basketball game. More importantly, an outstanding atmosphere. An outstanding atmosphere at Utah. So anybody, like I said, you didn't see this game, make it a point to try to go back and watch it if you can, because really good atmosphere. Proud of Utah and what they bring. Not that they don't always do that. That's not what I'm saying. Relax. All I'm saying, it was a really good atmosphere. And there was a ton of BYU fans there too. So really good basketball game. And then the last game of the weekend, TCU goes to Baylor and wins 74-71. Brendan Wenzel hits a three-pointer with 5 seconds to go to give them the win. This game was kind of a back-and-forth affair. But I will say this, and I feel very confident saying this, TCU was the tougher basketball team. They made the plays down the stretch to win this basketball game. They were the tougher team. They out-rebounded, just destroyed Baylor on the road on the glass by 16. Now, they had 17 turnovers. Because, that kind of offsets things. That's why this game was so close. Having said all of that, TCU was just a tougher team. They were. They shot 50% from the field. Wenzel led them with 17 points. I'm really surprised at Baylor. Now, I know Baylor's had some injuries. I get it. I understand all that. But as I was mentioning earlier, some of the teams that maybe we thought were going to be good haven't been as good. Baylor's one of them. I mean, there's plenty of people that thought Baylor was going to be a top 10 basketball team all year. Well, here they are, and they're not playing well at all. Baylor's got to start to kick this thing into gear. Just like Arizona, Baylor's got to start kicking this into gear. Now, they'll get guys back. Guys get a little bit more healthy, get used to playing with each other. We'll see how all that goes. But Baylor's got to be better, or should be. I'm not saying they've got to be. Shouldn't have said that. They need to be better for the conference. They got to be a better basketball team. And I think they are, but maybe they got to find themselves a little bit, kind of find out who they are, and then they can be a better basketball team. So there's a really good lineup. It was weird that there's no games on Monday. Now, I think that was by design because the national championship game is on Monday, so nobody's really playing on Monday tonight because of the national championship game. But a Sunday game I thought was weird with TCU and Baylor, but it is what it is. Getting back going this week, a lot of basketball still to be played. I'm excited to cover this conference. I'm excited to talk about it. Good basketball teams. Some got to get better. Some got to kick it into gear. Others may be surprising. We're going to see. But overall, this league is top-notch, man. It's a top-notch league. So appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for always listening. Remember, dive in those comments. Tell me exactly what you think. We appreciate all your help, all your support. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.